Welcome. Good afternoon. You know, it was hard for me not to ring that bell, but it'll ring here in just a moment. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Tulsa, and happy Rotary New Year, right? It's exciting. It's going to be an exciting day. So, for one last time, I get to have the microphone for a minute, and it is my distinct honor to introduce your 2024-2025 President of the Rotary Club of Tulsa, Daniel Gomez. Well, they started early. I haven't even said anything about him yet. That's pretty good, Daniel. I like it. Daniel is a partner at Connor Winters, LLP, a full-service regional law firm headquartered in downtown Tulsa. He works primarily as a litigator with experience in several practice areas and industries, including Native American law and policy, government contracting, gaming, insurance, bankruptcy, and business disputes. He is admitted to practice in Oklahoma and Texas and appears regularly in state, federal, and tribal courts, where he has worked on several jury and non-jury trials and appeals. He has also served as an adjunct professor at the University of Tulsa College of Law, where he has taught courses in federal Indian law and federal rules of evidence. His practice also includes pro bono work on matters including religious freedom, civil rights, and immigration. Daniel obtained his law degree from Southern Methodist University in 2008 and earned an economics degree from Oklahoma State in 2004. In 2022, he received a Top Lawyers Under 40 award from the Hispanic National Bar Association, and in 2013 was named Outstanding Young Lawyer by the Tulsa County Bar Association. He appears regularly in annual ranking issued by Chambers USA, Best Lawyers in America, and Super Lawyers. I think you all should have to wear costumes for that one. With the Rotary Club of Tulsa, he served on the board as Sergeant-at-Arms in 2018-19, was the Partner in Education Chair from 2019 to 2022, and will serve as Club President in 24 and 25. In addition to his service with the club, Daniel is a member of Leadership Oklahoma, Class 35, and Leadership Tulsa, Class 53. That's kind of funny how that reciprocates. And Class 53 is the best class ever. We had the privilege of going through that class together. He is Vice President of the Board of Directors for the Tulsa Historical Society and Museum, and is a board member for the Council Oak Elementary School Foundation. He serves on the Greater Tulsa Area Hispanic Affairs Commission and is a Deputy Regional President for the Hispanic National Bar Association. Daniel, the membership of the Rotary Club of Tulsa has elected you to serve as the President for the 2024-2025 Rotary year. Our members have expressed their confidence that you possess the qualifications and abilities necessary to carry out the presidential responsibilities. They also have confidence that you will continue the legacy of leadership that the Rotary Club of Tulsa has maintained in its community, the district, and the Rotary world. So it is with great honor that I administer the oath of office. Please repeat after me. I, Daniel, do affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the Rotary Club of Tulsa, and that I will, to the best of my ability, give support and assistance to the District Governor and to Rotary International, and that I will uphold the Constitution and bylaws of the Rotary Club of Tulsa. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to your 111th President of the Rotary Club of Tulsa, Daniel Gomez. Friend, it is my honor to present you with your president pen and pass the gavel to you to ring that bell.
It's a big day, and I have a lot to say today. I promise I'll try my best to be interesting, but first and foremost, let us begin today's program with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then a Rotary Y, in which President Tiffany will have one last opportunity to address you from this stage, and then guest introductions from Adam Doverspike. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll keep it short, I promise. You know, the Rotary Y was something that we wanted to start last year, and I'm so excited we're going to continue, because hearing from you all as to why either you became a Rotarian or why you're still a Rotarian, those are important for us to know. So I can tell you, I have many reasons that I joined Rotary, but I have many, many more reasons that I am still a Rotarian. The one I'm going to share with you today is you. You are the reason that I'm still a Rotarian. It is a privilege to call everybody in this room a friend and to get to do service above self with other folks that are like-minded and that want to make a difference in our local community and around the world. So thank you for all of the service that you do. You are the gift that keeps on giving in Rotary, and you are my why. Thank you.
Good afternoon. For our guest introductions today, I'd ask our guests and hosts to stand when called through all three of our guests, and let's hold applause till the end. First, we welcome guest Sutton McGuire, who's here with her grandfather, host Rotarian Chuck Wilson. Nobody ever listens. That's lovely. Next, we have our guest, Darlene Wolfenbarger, here with host Rotarian Shayna Vollmer. And finally, we have guest and prospective member Daniel Grimes here with host Rotarian Jerry Dillon. Please join me in welcoming all three of these guests today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Adam. It is now my honor to introduce the 2024 to 2025 leadership team. As your name is called, please come forward and line up on the stage. Tiffany Egdorf, immediate past president. David Wagner, chairman of the board. Carl Vincent, president-elect. Jenny Hammock, secretary-treasurer. Derek Frazier, sergeant-at-arms. DJ Morrow Ingram, Club Services Director. Barbara Kogerman, Community Services Director. Alan Whalen, International Services Director. Barney James, Membership Service Director. Shanna Vollmer, Vocational Service Director. Brian Jackson, Youth Service Director. Jack McGlumphy, Director at Large. Kaiden Creekpalm, Director at Large. Matthew Bristow, Long Range Plan Liaison. Come on, Matthew, you got this. First of all, thank you all for agreeing to serve on the board this year. You have been selected to serve in a significant position in the administration of the Rotary Club of Tulsa. This is an indication of your fellow Rotarians' esteem and confidence in all of you. Will you fulfill the responsibilities of your offices to the best of your ability and in accordance with the Constitution and bylaws of this club? Please respond, I will. And now I would like to ask all of our committee chairs and co-chairs to stand and be recognized. Thank you all for your dedication and commitment to serve this year. You can be seated. And from me especially, thank you all for saying yes. I know that that's sometimes the hardest part of all of this. First and foremost, thank you, Rotarians, for this opportunity. It truly is an honor to serve the next 12 months as president of this club, and I promise that I will devote my best effort to serving you, this club, and our mission to service above self. Before I get started, I want to thank past President Tiffany one more time for everything she's done over the last several years as an extraordinary leader for this club. We've all come to know that her energy, her passion, and her leadership skills are second to none. We've been privileged to have her lead this organization for the last year, and it's been my honor to appoint her to Long-Range Planning Committee to ensure that we have the benefit of that energy for the foreseeable future. We all know that she now lives in Muskogee, but has asked to continue to serve this club, and I was thrilled for the opportunity to appoint her to that position. I'm particularly happy to know that with President Tiffany's help, we will continue to strengthen our relationship to Rotary District 6110, including as an assistant governor and working with our own past president, John Raines, who will become district governor next year. Tiffany alluded to it just a minute ago. We were a part of the same Leadership Tulsa class, Class 53, and I think it's no coincidence that we will be serving this club in back-to-back years. I found an old photograph of Class 53. This is from back in 2014. You'll see me and Tiffany way up there in the top right corner. There we are. Tiffany, could you have imagined back then that we'd be here today? You know, the running joke in Leadership Tulsa is that every class considers themselves the best class ever, and I think we now lay claim, a legitimate claim to that title. Can we please get one more ovation for past President Tiffany Egdorf? As I said, today is truly special. It felt like not that long ago, but also an eternity, when I was having coffee with my good friend Jesse Guardiola, and he told me that if I wanted to know what was happening in Tulsa and meet people making it happen, I had to attend Rotary with him, and I did. I have to admit, a room with this many people, many of whom I did not at that time know very well, was somewhat intimidating. But after hearing the speakers, the introductions, and most importantly, the announcements of everything that this club does for Tulsa, I knew it was a special place, and I knew I wanted to be a part of it. But at the time, I had no idea where or how I might fit in. On my way out of that meeting, I saw another good friend, Hannibal Johnson. He was sitting right there where he is right now, in the back of the room. We chatted, and I learned that he was in line at that time to become president. I knew then and there that this club was special, and if it was important to someone like Hannibal, it needed to be something important to me. I knew right then and there, again, that I wanted to be a part of this club. Of course, I didn't know at the time that President Hannibal would appoint me to serve as Sergeant at Arms within a few months. Now, at that time, the role was held by Charles Seacrest, who many of you may recall was really funny and really entertaining. I distinctly recall telling Hannibal, "You know I'm a lawyer, right? And I'm not particularly funny." His response was perfect. He said he chose me because he thought our personalities would work well together and that was an important part of the job. I figured I could make that work, and I hope that I was somewhat entertaining, even if self-deprecating, during my term. I did my best in that role, and I take pride in what we were able to raise that year. Of course, Sarge Bryant, this past year, did a lot to outshine many of us past Sarges. It was a terrific job. Thank you, Brian. I know that Derek Frazier is going to do an amazing job as Sarge. We've talked about his approach to the job, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I thank you, Derek, for agreeing to serve in that role. I know that's not an easy yes. Derek will make his debut over the next few weeks, and I promise you do not want to miss it. Towards the end of my Sarge year, I knew that I needed to find a way to contribute, to continue to contribute. At a board meeting leading into that next Rotary year, it was announced that the Partners in Education Committee was in need of a new chair. In my career, I have participated in speaking to elementary school students about basic legal concepts. I had young children at the time, not yet in elementary school, but I knew that that role was something that I could find passion. So I put my hand out and I chaired that committee for 3 years, and I continue to be a part of that committee today. I'm particularly proud of a project that we accomplished in my first few years as chair. I had toured the school a few times, and I saw all of the projects that our club had funded previously, including playground equipment, flagpole, a courtyard, and our branding showed up all over the place. The Mike Chittum Library, of course, is an important reminder to all of us of a great Rotarian, a man I never got to meet, but who I know loved this club and loved the school. In one of the first meetings I attended as a new member, I recalled an announcement that Bob Spears had left a testamentary gift to Rotary and had allocated it specifically for Celia Clinton. I also never had the opportunity to meet Mr. Spears. He was before my time, but I researched him online and found that his love for Rotary and the school, and Celia Clinton in particular, was mentioned in his obituary, and I knew again how important the role was. I asked the school principal, what type of project could we fund next for the school? Her idea was to commission the art teacher to bring life and joy to the hallways inside the school. She described the hallways at the time as a bit sterile, like a hospital, and she wanted to bring life and joy. With the money allocated to our committee by the foundation and the funds inherited from Mr. Spears, we funded the project, and the hallways now, when you enter the school, are indeed lively and fun, as you can tell up here. I told the art teacher about Mr. Spears, and she incorporated a picture of him into the artwork, and he is now permanently affixed as part of the school, just above the Rotary logo, which appears in several other places. Every time I visit the school now, either to volunteer with this club or with Junior Achievement, I smile at what we were able to do for the students at that school, and it's something that I think our club is going to continue to do for a long, long time. Now, I told that story not only as an extended Rotary Why, but as a segue into this year's Rotary International theme. Each year, the Rotary International president chooses a theme that is to guide our clubs and to inspire us to continue the work of Rotary at every level. This year's Rotary International president is Stephanie Yurchik from the Rotary Club of McMurray, Pennsylvania. I had the privilege of hearing her speak just a few weeks ago at the Rotary International Convention in Singapore, and it was a magical experience. For those of you who follow the Rotary newsletters, or if you read the Rotary magazine, you probably know that yes, that pun was intended. This year's Rotary International theme is the magic of Rotary. And I was gifted at the convention this, which I think is going to guide us for the year. President Yurchik announced this theme earlier this year at a meeting of district governors. I've read her address several times over the last several months for motivation and to prepare myself for this role. Like the story I just told about the magical feeling working with Celia Clinton Elementary, President Yurchik included in her address a wonderful story that inspired her theme. She says that she was in the Dominican Republic on a service project with her club, installing water filters to help bring potable water to the people. Once installed, 2 young boys watched as they used the filter for the first time. Dirty water entered the filter on one end, emerged out clean on the other. When the water stopped flowing, she says that one of the boys grabbed her arm and said, "Show me the magic again." So to him, that was a magical moment. To President Yurchik, as she describes it, it was a magical moment for her, created by Rotary, and that is how she came up with her presidential theme. I think her story, that story in particular, speaks directly to our club and our history of water well projects in Nicaragua and the partnerships we're currently pursuing to continue our international projects of providing clean drinking water where it is needed. I recall the incredible gift this club presented to me at the end of my Sarge year, and I still keep this certificate on my wall today. This club gifted me this certificate, naming a water well in Nicaragua after me. Again, the magic of those moments, especially for those in this club who've got to participate in that project while it was ongoing, is undeniable. Expanding on the theme, President Yurchik said in her address, quote, and I've put it up here on the screen, "The magic of Rotary can encourage whatever drives your local clubs. You can grow the magic of Rotary if you're adding new members to our club. You can unlock the magic of Rotary if you're unlocking the power of women and girls. And you can advance the magic of Rotary if you're fundraising to help change the world." I feel that this is a universal message. It speaks to every club at every level, including our own. Leading up to this role today, I've attended several conferences, including the Large Club Conference in Baton Rouge, which includes leaders from the largest clubs from the United States. I attended the Mid-America President-Elect Training, known as PETS, in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I attended the District Conference in Rogers, Arkansas. And of course, most recently, the Rotary International Convention in Singapore. Those experiences have led me to understand that our club is a healthy club and that we are doing things and have done things very well. These conferences often include breakout sessions where club leaders share their own stories, their ideas, and things that they are doing in their clubs and suggestions for other clubs. I was struck that most of the ideas that are passed around there are things that our club is currently doing, has done, or will be doing in the future. I take great pride that I'll be leading a club that is in such a strong position right now. The work, of course, is never done, and I intend to continue the momentum we currently have under President Tiffany's leadership and to fulfill President Yurchik's directive that we grow, unlock, and advance the magic of Rotary right here in Tulsa. That leads me to some initiatives our leadership team will be pursuing this year, each of which fits squarely within the theme. With respect to membership, Barney James has put together an incredible team, and I'm so excited for this coming year. I'm particularly excited in our current effort to recruit and retain young professionals. If our club is going to continue to grow, we need these active and interested Tulsans to join our club and to participate in our work. Barney's team includes several of our current young professionals who will lead this effort, including Natalie Evans, who will chair our Young Professionals Committee this year. I encourage everyone here today to go out of your way to meet the young professionals in this club, to get to know them, to add them to your networks, and to bring them into your Rotary work. In every conference I have attended this past year, recruitment and retainment of young professionals has been at the top of the agenda. The recurring theme, and it's always brought in the content of of demographic studies is that young professionals today seek meaning in what they do, including through community service. And with that in mind, I think the Rotary Club in general, and our club in particular, is a perfect place. Along those lines, I also hope this year to include discussion of vocational services and our professional roles, each of our professional roles here in Tulsa. Rotary is first and foremost a service organization, but its origins is as a business networking organization. I learned this from Linda Bradshaw when I was a new Rotarian and learned all about the club, which I have to admit at the time I knew very little about. Its origins, the origin of the name Rotary Club is that our founders conducted their meetings by rotating between their businesses. Young professionals today are navigating a world where meaningful contribution to community is important, but professional success is also at the forefront of what people need out of life. A mentor once told me that friends hire friends, and being known in Tulsa's business community as someone who makes things happen should be and is an important benefit of our membership. Along these lines, I intend to continue President Tiffany's Coffee with the President meetings on certain mornings, but I'm going to strive to do so at a host Rotarian business. I think that will be a great way for Rotarians to share with club members what they do on a day-to-day basis, and this will be in addition to Business Visitation Day. There will be more to come on that in the near future, but I hope that you will consider participating and or hosting one of these meetings at your business. The most recent meeting I attended, as I noted, was the Rotary International Convention in Singapore. I took a lot of pictures, and here's one of me with, of course, the iconic skyline. I'd been told about this conference in the past. It brings together tens of thousands of Rotarians from across the globe who share a common purpose of improving our planet. Past presidents and attendees will tell you that the experience can change your life, and I'm no exception. I learned so much from this event about the magic of Rotary around the world, and I will endeavor to have more discussion this year about where we Tulsa Rotarians fit within this international community. Something that really piqued my interest was getting to know some of what Rotary represents on the international stage, including some things that we don't get to talk about too often outside of the major initiatives like polio eradication. By the way, something that really strikes you at the International Convention, for me at least, was that Bill Gates spoke to us, not in person, but by video. The fact that someone like that was interested in helping Rotarians eradicate polio is something that I feel really exemplifies how important our club is to the planet and to the people that we serve. One of the first things that I noticed was a continual theme about Rotary's 7 areas of focus. These are things that I have heard about, but honestly I had not really delved that deep into. Rotary International's 7 areas of focus are 1, peace building and conflict prevention. 2, disease prevention and treatment. 3, water sanitation and hygiene. 4, maternal and child health. 5, basic education and literacy. 6, community economic development. And 7, what I understand is a more recent addition, environmental protection and sustainability. Nearly every service activity that Rotary does at every level falls into or relates to one or more of these areas of focus. Our club, for example, has a long history of helping provide clean drinking water to areas where it is scarce. Our partnership with Celia Clinton Elementary falls within the educational area of focus. We participate in Rotary Youth Exchange as an avenue of peace building and preventing conflict by helping young students, better understand the world, including places that may be unfamiliar to them, and meeting people from different cultures. We help treat and prevent disease by donating to the End Polio campaign and working closely with our district's Medical Supply Network Incorporated, or as we call it, MSNI. As a large club, it's incredible how much we have accomplished within these areas of focus. I hope that our members, and new members especially, will take a deep dive into what being a Rotarian means on the international level and where we can contribute beyond our own communities. This is what really intrigued me about Rotary action groups that operate at the international level with participation from local clubs and districts. I myself am still scratching the surface on some of these topics, but each of the Rotary action groups falls somewhere within one of the 7 areas of focus. One of the very moving things that I experienced at the International Conference was speaking directly with people who are operating on all of these topics. They each have a booth, and you can talk to them, and they're more than happy to share how Rotary is changing the world on all of these topics. Our club, for example, has endeavored on an anti-human trafficking initiative which aligns with the Rotary Action Group on preventing slavery and human trafficking as a method of building peace in the world through security, freedom, and safety for all. You have heard frequent mentions from this stage about how every member of the club has online access to My Rotary, which contains a wealth of information, including leadership training materials, but it also contains information on Rotary International and the work that is happening and opportunities available to all of us as members of this club. Rotary action groups are discussed in detail, and it is very heartwarming to see what the problems that these groups are addressing and the successes that they've had. I bring this up in hopes that our members will explore these action groups and either consider participating directly or by leading a charge within our club or within our district to collaborate with one or more clubs on this topic, that especially if any of these topics have any special meaning to you. If nothing else, I hope that you will better understand the difference Rotarians have made around the world. The monthly Rotary magazine that you should be receiving as part of your membership also includes incredible stories of what local clubs, including Interact and Rotaract clubs, are doing worldwide to make the planet a better place. I personally have been particularly moved reading about Interact and Rotaract clubs. These are clubs of younger people who associate with Rotary clubs, but they do their own initiatives. I recall one of the articles I read was a Rotaract club in Japan, which went out of their way to provide healthcare items, to collect healthcare items and money for people in need. They did it on their own. They had the idea, they executed on it with help from more experienced Rotarians, but it was still their idea, and I found that particularly moving. I also learned at the International Convention about Rotary Fellowships, which is something I was aware of, but the breadth of which I didn't really know. Nor did I really understand until then how Rotary International considers these fellowships not as something alone just for fun and interest, but at the international level, these fellowships are considered as an important way to meet people across the world on topics that you may align with. And through getting to know other people across the world, Rotary considers this as a way of promoting peace and understanding between nations. Fellowship groups exist on a number of topics, including things like pickleball, cycling, swimming, rowing, rugby, public speaking, tennis, triathlons, and of course, fellowships for fans of wine, beer, and whiskey, which obviously are the ones that had the most people at their booths. These fellowships provide an opportunity to share a love for things with friends across the world. But I was also struck that a lot of these fellowships on the international level, and you can see, I put a slide together of how many there truly are, they work together for service projects. For example, I had a nice long conversation with some representatives from Germany who ran the booth, unsurprisingly, for the Rotary Brew Fellowship, which, by the way, is an acronym, BREW, beers Rotarians enjoy worldwide. They not only share their love for beer in Zoom meetings and at events and conventions, they work with the Rotary Action Group on water, sanitation, and hygiene, which itself is an acronym in the Rotary world, WASH. The connection between water and beer is fairly obvious, and they utilize this connection by raising money and organizing service projects around the world to help bring clean drinking water to people in need. Again, that speaks to our club. As an aside, I'm pretty sure some of you have at least some familiarity with the Brew Fellowship. I distinctly recall Sarge Bryan recently handing out door prizes koozies featuring the Brew Fellowship's 4-way beer test. 1, is it cold? 2, is there enough for all concerned? 3, will it build good times and much better friendships? And 4, can it get any better than this? Something I've learned at these conferences that I've attended is that Rotarians are a fun group of people, which is yet another thing our club does well. You surely know that if you've attended one of our social events, which will continue this coming year, and you won't want to miss out. The momentum we have on our terrific social events are a way, in my opinion, to get to know Rotarians on a closer basis. Our weekly meetings are important, and we get to talk and converse amongst each other. But at social events, you really get to know people, and I really hope that everybody here will consider participating in one or more social event this coming year. It really does help with our relationships to each other. My interest in Rotary action groups and fellowships, and the reason I decided to talk about them today, is how they interact to make the world a better place, and it leads me to yet another Rotary concept that I hope we all will embrace. We all are dedicated to service above self, and thereby we are all people of action. That phrase, people of action, I've heard a lot, but I did not really know until recently that it is an officially sanctioned phrase by Rotary International. It's a fitting description of our members, including here in Tulsa. As Rotarians, we are people of action. The breadth of what we do in the Tulsa community is something we will continually share at our meetings, our social events, our service projects, and in everything that we do. Speaking of people of action, I have to acknowledge Sheree Gardner and her team, who have worked at an unbelievable pace, planning an incredible event that will this year replace what has previously been known as wine, cheese, and chocolate. She mentioned it already at a few meetings, and I hope everybody will be sure to attend and encourage people within your networks to attend, sponsor, and generate some buzz about what's going on with this incredible event. Sheree's team has created a new concept that very well and hopefully will become an annual marquee event for our club, which Tulsans in general will get to know as a place to be. It will be not just a night of camaraderie, friendship, and fun. It will be a way for us to highlight as a club what we do in furtherance of our commitment to service above self, and ideally will raise some money for our foundation to help continue and expand our impact. I'm incredibly proud that the first version of this new event, newly branded event, will happen during my term as president. But as we all know, the planning for such an event started last year under President Tiffany's term. You'll be hearing more and more about this event in the coming weeks because it's coming up pretty quick. It'll be held Friday, October 11th at Cedar Ridge Country Club. Please save the date, share with your networks, and let's ensure that this is a massive success, which we can continue on an annual basis. I again have to commend Sheree and her team for coming up with such an interesting concept, such a creative concept, and executing on it at such breakneck speed. The golden circle, of course, refers to the Rotary wheel, and I have no doubt that it will soon become one of the hottest tickets in town. In all of these conferences that I've attended, one word has come up nearly every time and on a regular basis, and that word is family. In my years as a member of this club, I've gotten to know many of you quite well, others somewhat well, and others not well enough. In the time we have remaining here today, I'd like to share a little bit about myself and what to expect from this podium over the next year. For better or for worse, I am a native Texan. I was born in Corpus Christi in a unique Tejano culture. My father worked for the electric company, Central Power and Light, and when I was in middle school, his job transferred him. The choices at the time, at least the way my dad said it, was Dallas or Tulsa. And I have to admit here today, when the announcement was Tulsa, I was not a happy young man. But I blame that on my father. He is a true Texan. So we moved here when I was in middle school. My dad's job converged into a company that was called Central and Southwest Services, which is now AEP. We moved to Sand Springs, and I graduated from Charles Page High School in the year 2000. Again, I admit here today, yeah, we got a couple of Sandites in here. I admit here today that the culture shock of moving from Corpus Christi in the inner city to Sand Springs, Oklahoma, and not the northern part, the southern tip, was a huge shock. It was a difficult time, I admit, but it really did shape who I am and what I'm proud of. Today, I am proud to be a Tulsan. I've lived here since after graduating law school, even though my parents did move back to Texas. My dad, by the way, has a sink that's shaped like the state of Texas. That's all you need to know about him. But one thing that really appealed to me, and the reason I felt I had to join this club, one of the many reasons that is that the speakers we host here on this stage share with us what is happening in Tulsa and why we are continuing to become a vibrant city. We will, of course, continue this high level of programming this year, and I thank Karen McCannell for agreeing to take on the role as program chair. She's going to do a terrific job, and we already have some great programs in the works. Throughout the year, you're going to hear a few things from me from up here on a regular basis. You'll recall that President Jerry liked airplanes and that President Tiffany liked fancy hats. I like playing sandlot baseball on the weekends, and I will be talking about it probably way more than you care to hear. Me and some friends formed a team that we call the Tulsa Breeze, and if there's any doubt about my devotion to Tulsa, we are named after a song by Tulsa legend J.J. Cale, Call Me the Breeze. It's not super competitive, we just have fun, including that we host pickup games, open pickup games for anyone to attend, including children and kids who, regardless of skill, even those who may not be ready to join a team. We work closely with the Parks Department, and I'm particularly glad that we have helped renovate 2 public ball fields, one at Reed Park in West Tulsa and one at Lacey Park in North Tulsa. We've traveled to play similar teams in Austin, Kansas City, Nashville, and in a few weeks, I'll be heading to New Haven, Connecticut to play a team formed by one of our former members who moved up there a few years ago. Most of these events include fundraising for worthy causes, and I take a lot of pride in this. With respect to this picture up here right now, this is when we went to Iowa. We played at the Field of Dreams movie site. Now, I do have to let everybody know that I look quite serious here. That was not my choice. It was an artistic request from the photographer. It was actually really, really fun. Sandlot baseball is a fun activity that brings me joy, so I'll be sharing it with you from time to time up here. Of course, I'm also an OSU grad and sports fan. I'm told I'll be the first OSU person to serve as president here for quite some time. and I intend to take full advantage of this stage this year. Here's another old picture I found. I was a member of the Spirit of Oklahoma State Cowboy Marching Band, where I played tenor sax for 2 years. This was before we started making bowl games, by the way. Usually in front of sparse crowds, always worried that the stadium might collapse on us. I'm happy we've improved since then, but I am hoping for a good sports year, because if we don't have one, it's not going to be as fun. I've talked a lot today about people who have inspired me, and I have one more person to add. That's Ed Manette. I think you know where this is going. He's always flashing that liner from his OU blazer for reasons sometimes having nothing to do with OU at all. So Ed, this one's for you, right here. I'll be doing that often, by the way, because I have a lot of catching up to do. By the way, our current Assistant Governor, Larry Boyer, is in attendance. He was introduced at the last meeting. Be sure to get to know Larry. I've got to talk to him quite often at these conferences. He's a great person and a great friend. He also designed this jacket for me. So thank you, Larry, for the opportunity to show Ed up from time to time. In closing, I want to leave you all with something to think about for the coming year. I've talked a lot about the Rotary International Convention, and that's because it really was a moving experience. There was another comment that I heard during that conference that has stuck with me, and I wanted to share it with you today. One of the keynote speakers at the International Convention was a man named Ignacio Dean. He's an adventurer and an environmentalist. He spoke on the topic of Rotary's 7th area of focus, environmental protection and sustainability. He's best known for walking around the world through 5 continents. Over 3 years he did this. He's also known for being the first person in history, and I believe the only person, to have swam between 5 different continents. He did this all to raise awareness for a cause that was important to him, environmental sustainability. He has worked closely with Rotary International and Rotary clubs around the world, including the Rotary Action Group for Environmental Sustainability. He's also worked closely with a Rotary club in Amsterdam, which has created a global initiative to clear the oceans of plastic waste. Because of his adventures, he is an incredible storyteller, and his speech at the convention was truly memorable. It can be found, by the way, if you Google it on the Rotary International website, and I encourage you to do so. He closed with a comment that really stuck with me, and that is why I want to share it with you today, in hopes that it will guide us in this coming year. I'm very much paraphrasing here, but he said that as people of action, we affect change in this world, not just through the stories we tell, but in the stories we create along the way. As Rotarians, as people of action, dedicated to service above self, I ask that we, as Tulsa Rotarians, over the next year, share the magic of Rotary in our day-to-day lives, not just in the stories that we tell, but in the stories we're going to create along the way. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity. I promise I will do my best, and let's have a great year. Thank you. Announcements. Our upcoming programs. July 17th will be Scott Stuhlin, who I'm sure most of you know is now the outgoing executive director of Philbrook Museum of Art. He's a good friend of mine, and he's agreed to come speak with us about the work that he's done in his tenure here. and where he sees that museum going in the future. July 24th will be Barry Trammell, sports writer formerly of the Oklahoman, now with the Tulsa World. And July 31st will be a Service Above Self Day. An announcement on the location of that will come soon. Upcoming events: MSNI Workday, Saturday, July 13th, 8 to 12 p.m. I think that's, noon, 8 a.m. to noon. Special thanks to our gold sponsors, We Be Trees, Tim Knoll, Max Electric Supply, Jack McGlumphy, Coldwell Banker Select, Sheree Gardner, OK Ethics, Mary Lytle. To this week's silver sponsors: J.D. Young, Doug Stewart, Moore Funeral Home, Joe Moore, Trust Company of Oklahoma, Michael Hairston. And to this week's bronze sponsors: Yale Cleaners, Bill and John Rothrock, Argent Trust of Oklahoma, Harvey Rowe and Kenny Brown, Claude Neon Federal Signs, James Adair, and Gable Gottwalls, Jeff Hassel, Paul Rossler, and Adam Dover Spikes. Committee meetings today: the Board of Directors will meet in room 231. So in closing, everybody, thank you so much for this opportunity. I was way more nervous about an hour ago, but thank you for sitting through that. So let's go forth today and let's think about how in this coming year we will be sharing the magic of Rotary. We're adjourned.